Good morning, mathematicians. Today is Monday, May 11th, 2020. Today we will be learning about cubes and prisms. Our lesson objective is I can describe and distinguish a 3D shape by identifying the number of faces and vertices the shape has. All right, mathematicians, you have 60 seconds to complete the 3 questions. Ready? And start. Ten seconds left. And stop. Let's go ahead and check your work. For number 1, we have a green circle cut into 4 equal parts. You are supposed to color one of the equal parts and tell us how many were shaded. You should have 1 part shaded and 1 of 4 parts are shaded. Number 2 is a square. We're supposed to shade 1 part of it and 1 of 2 parts are colored. Number 3 says Jamal and his friend shared a sandwich equally. How many equal parts were there? That would be 2 equal parts, 1 for Jamal and 1 for his friend. Awesome job, mathematicians. The essential question for this chapter is, how can I identify 3-dimensional shapes? As we go along with the lesson, keep that in mind. Think about what ways are we describing shapes? What attributes are we doing or using? To get started, let's go ahead and think. How can you identify cubes and rectangular prisms? If you look at the screen, we have a cube and we have a rectangular prism. What is the difference between a rectangle and a cube? The difference between a rectangle and a cube is that this is a 3D shape. You can touch it, you could feel it. This right here is a 2-dimensional shape that is flat. Thinking about that, can you describe the shape of an average shoebox? Would it look more like a cube or like a rectangular prism? Yes, a shoebox would look more like a rectangular prism, and it's not flat like a rectangle. Let's go ahead and watch this video to learn a bit more about cubes and prisms.
Cubes and rectangular prisms. This is a cube. The edges of a cube are all the same size. A cube is a perfect shape to stand on. This is a rectangular prism. The rectangular prism has long sides and short edges. A rectangular prism is also a perfect shape to stand on. The turtle won a first place ribbon. We can win a ribbon too if we follow these directions. Name the first shape in the row. This is a cube. Describe it. The sides of a cube are flat. The sides of a cube are the same size. Compare it to the shape of the other objects in the row. Circle the matching shape. Great work!
All right, mathematicians, we just learned what a cube looks like. Now, thinking about what we learned, how many faces does the top object have and how many vertices does the top object have? Now, remember, vertices, we learned that vertices are the corners. Looking at this top object, how many corners can you guys see? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there's one more in the back of the shape right here, around here. So the top object has 8 vertices. Faces are the flat side of the shape. This is one face. Here to the side is another face. On the top, there's another face. So we could see 1, 2, 3 faces on this object. But there are also the bottom face that we cannot see, the face in the back, and the face in the side. So that would be 3 faces that we cannot see and 3 faces that we can see. So how many faces does the top object have? Yes, it has a total of 6 faces. Now looking at the bottom object, how many faces does the bottom object have? Again, there's 1 on the top, 1 in the front, then there's 1 on the bottom and 1 in the back. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 to the sides. 4, 5, 6. It has a total of 6 faces as well. How many vertices does the bottom object have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 2 in the bottom that we cannot see. How are the 2 objects similar? Yes, they both have 6 faces and they both have 8 vertices. How are they different? Look at the shape that their faces have. Excellent job. The cube has a square face. All of the faces are squares, while the bottom object, they look more like rectangles. That's why it's called the rectangular prism, because this one has faces that have the shape of a rectangle. The top one has square faces, and we call it a cube. Amanda has the following objects in her room. Identify each shape. What do we call the object on the top? A cube. And what do we call the object in the bottom? A rectangular prism. Very good. So remember, mathematicians, both the cube and the rectangular prism have 6 faces and 8 vertices. Thinking about what we just learned, let's go ahead and solve this problem. Priya draws 2 squares and 4 rectangles. Draw the shapes below. What 3-dimensional shape can she make using the shapes drawn? Name the 3D shape. So she draws 2 squares and 4 rectangles. She has 2 squares And for rectangles, she can make a rectangular prism. Why? Because it has the 6 faces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the 8 vertices, one vertex, 2 vertices, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 vertices. Priam made a rectangular prism. Three-dimensional shapes are solid shapes. Cubes and rectangular prisms have faces and vertices, vertex if it's only one. The cube has 6 faces and 8 vertices. The rectangular prism also has 6 faces and 8 vertices. Thinking about what we just learned about cubes and rectangular prisms, let's identify each shape, circle the name, and write the number of faces and vertices. Look at the green shape. Is it a rectangular prism or is it a cube? Yes, it's a rectangular prism. How many faces and how many vertices does it have? 6 faces, 8 vertices. Look at the purple shape. Is it a rectangular prism or is it a cube? Yes, it's a cube. And how many faces and how many vertices? 6 faces and 8 vertices. I want you to go ahead and look very carefully at the green and at the purple shape. They're both solid shapes. They both have 6 faces and 8 vertices. The difference between the rectangular prism and the cube is in their faces. The face of a cube is a square. The face of a rectangular prism is a rectangle. That's where it gets its name, rectangular prism. All right, mathematicians, remember that. Mathematicians, how are a rectangular prism and a cube alike? Yes, they both have 6 faces and 8 vertices. Awesome job, mathematicians. Thinking about what we just learned, if you put these shapes together, what three-dimensional shape do you make? Circle the name of the shape. Look at the 6 faces that are on the screen. They have been pulled apart. If we put them back together, what would we make? What will we have? A cube or a rectangular prism? Yes, a rectangular prism. And we know that because 4 of the faces are rectangles. The green face. We just learned that there are certain things that they have the same and certain things that they have different. How are cubes and rectangular prisms different? This is what I wrote. Cubes have 6 square faces, not 6 rectangular faces. Is it similar to what you wrote? Great job. Now, on your own, go ahead and finish all of the problems from pages 711 to 716 in your math book. Don't forget to send me a message letting me know that you have finished. Awesome job, mathematicians. See you soon. Bye-bye.